You're going to have many deaths in your lifetime. You're going to have many times where you are going, I'm no longer that. I'm no longer that person. I'm no longer that aspect of my being because it's no longer serving me. Welcome to today's episode. I am so excited you are here. Have you ever wanted to do something so badly, but you have failure to launch? You have failure to take action. You almost feel like you're stuck, but you know you want this thing. You know it's important to take action on this thing, but you just can't seem to execute. I know I have. I know that for a long time when I wanted to start my business, I would talk about how I want to do something different and how I so desperately want this thing, and I just could never execute on it. And the reason why that was is because I was so scared of failing. That was one fear. Another fear was I was so scared to let go of my familiar comforts. So I had a certain income level that I was used to. I had a certain identity that I was attached to. And those things I was comfortable, but I was super miserable with what I was doing. And I really didn't want to do it. But those fears were so crippling, I couldn't take action. But the biggest one was, and this was a very subconscious thing, and it wasn't I understood it in that particular moment to my core. Now looking back and doing the things that I do and teaching the things that I teach, it was an identity problem. Hey friend, I want to invite you to a very cool epic event that you are not going to want to miss. It is our free DNA Ancient Wisdom Masterclass series that is happening May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of 2024. We are going to be doing 3 very, very, very powerful healings that are going to prepare your DNA to be activated. We're also going to be talking about why it's important to activate your DNA, what that looks like throughout your lifetime, and how your DNA holds gifts from your ancestors, from your soul, that want to be awakened and want to be utilized in this lifetime, and also so much more. Join me in this free series by going to theamyrobison.com/free, theamyrobison.com/free. You will also find that link in the show notes or the description, depending on where you are watching or listening to this. I hope to see you there, and don't worry if you can't join us live, you can catch the replay. All right, let's hop back into the episode. Usually when we have a strong desire to have something, to create something, to be something, it requires us letting go of certain illusions of our identity and stepping into a new frequency, a new paradigm of who we are. And that can feel really hard for the ego. That can also feel really hard for our inner child, because these two aspects of your being got you to this point, and they're nervous. They're scared that if you let them go, if you let them be something different, that they don't know how to navigate that new chapter. And they're scared that they might make a mistake, or they're scared that they have to be something that they're not capable of being, or they're not worthy of being. Whatever the fear is, it's a very real fear on a cellular level, on a multidimensional level. And when you give yourself permission to take a step back and truly evaluate, why am I having failure to launch? And what part of my identity is scared to change? And how am I identifying? These questions will assist you in stepping out of the frequency that you're in and stepping into the frequency that is a match for the desire. Everything is a frequency problem. It truly, truly is. When it comes down to you attracting the things and embodying the things that you truly desire to have, it comes down to, are you a frequency match for that particular thing? And if you're not, can you get into a frequency match for that thing? And just because you can get into a frequency match for that thing doesn't mean it's in true alignment with your soul's path. And I'll give you an example. I remember having this goal, and I really it was like something that I was so excited to do, something so excited to talk about, but I drug my feet on it for years. And finally, when I got around to doing it, even though I did it, it was no longer an aligned action. It was no longer a aligned desire, because that ship had already sailed, and it was not exciting. I didn't want to do it, and I had to be really honest with myself of going, I don't need to do this, and this doesn't make sense for me to do. And so time is of the essence, and just because you've been dragging your feet for so long doesn't mean that it's not in alignment anymore either. It can be very much in alignment. I know for me, when I wanted to start my business, it took me years to go, I'm going to do this. I have the courage to do this. I am going to do this. And eventually I did it. It took me 4 years instead of 2 to have the courage to get everything situated. I gave myself a deadline the last year where I was like, I'm done. Like, I am absolutely done. I have to do this. My soul is desiring to do this. And I recently told this to a friend that is starting her own business. And she's so scared, because she's so scared to go off on her own, because she's a 1099 contractor. And if she goes off on her own, she's responsible for all of her own income. However, I told her, I said, you're going to wish you did it sooner. You're going to wish you did it sooner. And for me, I really do wish I would have done it sooner, because knowing what I now know, I know that it would have been just, it would have just been something that I could have handled at that particular moment. Now, with that also being said, everything works at divine timing. And so it's okay that I didn't do it sooner, because I had to have those lessons, because I know that without those lessons, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And so you'll want to, I encourage you to take a step back and ask yourself, what is holding you back from having the ability to launch, to take action on the desires that you have? And what part of you is scared to change? What parts of you are scared to change? And what does changing look like? What does changing feel like? And how can you embody that change and be okay with taking one tiny baby step each and every day towards that change? Change is a powerful thing. Change is always inevitable. Nothing ever stays the same. And if it did, it would be extremely boring. So how can you give yourself permission to change? And if you choose not to take action, what are the consequences in choosing to not take action? So I'll give you an example. For me, when I chose not to take action, I was saying no to my dream, yes to staying in the career that I felt was sucking the soul out of my body, mind, and spirit. I felt that I was saying yes to more stress, yes to long, extreme hours, yes to stability. So I'm gonna highlight that one because I am saying yes to stability. So if I were to say yes to a new job, I am saying yes to instability instead. And that is something that you have to be willing to be okay with, that you're not comfortable, that you don't know everything. And so there's always a flip side to the coin. And so identifying what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, and how it truly impacts you will help you make a sound decision. No matter what, you want to evaluate what is going on if you're having failure to launch. The other thing, if you're having failure to launch and you know it's in alignment, you know your soul's trying to tell you to go out and do this very thing, but you can't do it. You're scared to do it. Recommend highly getting outside help. I went through an identity crisis when I moved to be with my now husband, when I moved away from home from Wisconsin to South Carolina. And at that time, I went back to school. I finished my degree. I wanted to go and sell medical equipment. I had friends in the industry that could get me a job. And then when I moved, I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any friends that I was used to hanging out with. I didn't want to go back into my previous career. And so I was having a massive identity crisis because I didn't know who I was, because everything I identified with at that moment in time had been stripped away from me. My friends, my community, my family. And it was by choice. It wasn't because I was kicked out of the community. It was because I wanted to be with my now husband. I wanted to move. I wanted to have adventure. I'd always wanted to move away from home since I was a little kid. I had knew that was something I always wanted to do in my lifetime. And I had to be okay with sitting with these uncomfortable feelings of who am I? And I think this is a really powerful question, because your identity does come down to that big question, who am I? And when you think about it, you're not your identity based on labels. So yes, you could be a mother, you could be a father, you could be a brother, you could be a sister, you could be a son, you could be a daughter, you could be all of those labels, right? But who are you on a core level? And what is your soul desiring to have? And what are you willing to do to make it happen? And how uncomfortable are you willing to get? And I know this episode has a lot of questions, like a lot of deep thinking questions for you. And what I'm going to do is the questions that I've spouted out, I am going to put them in the show notes or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or in the blog. I blog all of the episodes. And so if you're not familiar with that, you can go to my website, theamyrobeson.com/podcast, and you can check out the blog for each episode. So these questions are questions you'll want to sit with, you'll want to meditate, you'll want to journal on, because who are you is going to be your North Star. It's going to be your compass on how you navigate your life. And if you are leaning towards something that you truly are not in alignment with, it is not who you truly are, you're going to be able to identify that much more quickly than if you're just kind of floating randomly in the ocean, not sure which way to take, which path to go. And your identity, as messed up as it sounds, your identity is always going to allow you to navigate life in a particular way. And sometimes those pieces of your identity are false or outdated aspects of your being that no longer want to be a part of your identity. And so it's so hard sometimes to be like, I gotta let this go. I gotta love this part of myself so that I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to let this aspect of myself die. And you're gonna have many deaths in your lifetime. You're gonna have many times where you are going, I'm no longer that. I'm no longer that person. I'm no longer that aspect of my being because it's no longer serving me. And I know for me, part of my identity has always been to people please because that was my upbringing. That was my trauma response. And I work really hard on letting go of that piece of my identity to where I will call myself out on behaviors and actions that aren't in alignment with my true beliefs and who I am, because I know on a deep core level my identity is not a people pleaser, and it's also not a people fixer. And so part of understanding your behaviors and your thoughts and your words and your deeds and your actions that ingrain identity over and over and over again, you get the opportunity to go, no, I'm not doing that anymore. No, I don't want that anymore. And then you have the opportunity then to choose different behaviors, different thoughts, different words, different deeds, and different actions that support who you truly are, who you truly want to become. And it is a lifetime practice. It's a lifetime opportunity, and you have the right to change your mind at any point along the path on who you are, because it's your reality. It's not my reality. It's not your friend's reality. It's not your parents' reality. It's not your caregiver's reality. It's not your spouse's reality. It's your reality. You shape your reality. You get to see through the lens that you see through. No one else can see through that lens but you. And you have the opportunity each and every day to go, I am going to be who I am and who I want to become, and I'm going to take action towards that very thing. And when you do, you are a force to be reckoned with, my friend. You are a force to be reckoned with, and you get to decide what that looks like on a consistent basis each and every moment of each and every day. You get to decide that. No one else can make you figure out who you are. No one else can make you see or perceive or feel the things that you feel or see or perceive. No one else, only you. So if you view your world as awful, unworthy, unlovable, that's what you're going to feel. That's what you're going to receive. If you start telling yourself each and every day and start taking actions that support you in feeling more worthy, or support you in feeling more powerful, or support you in feeling more peaceful, your reality is going to be shaped into that new frequency in which you are seeking, in which you are working towards each and every day. And the universe is going to validate those feelings. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes effort. So the question I'm going to leave you with is, who are you, my friend? Who are you, and are you willing to take action to achieve the desires in which you seek? Because you deserve it. All right, friends, make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.